I'm Alan Spears with Occupy Democrats, and Trump, along with the rest of the Republicans, just received some pretty dire news. We're going to be taking a look at a breaking story coming out of Ohio that indicates that Trump, along with the rest of these Republicans, are drastically losing the support of Americans countrywide. But first, I want you to take a deep breath and realize that we are absolutely not alone, and we are not the crazy ones in this election cycle. With so many lies and misinformation out there that are constantly being pushed, especially by the MAGA movement and these Republicans on the far right, it can seriously make you question and second guess yourself and ask whether or not the information you're receiving is legitimate. The good news is we are absolutely not alone in this matter, and in fact, the majority of the rest of the world supports us and President Biden. In a recent study published by the Pew Research Center, the rest of the world, by and large, favors President Biden over Donald Trump in terms of confidence in their ability to perform the role of President of the United States. Now, in this study, nearly half of the countries are more confident in Biden than they are in Trump, and Trump only receiving about 28% confidence. It should be noted that in this study, the majority of those countries that are more confident in Biden are our allies and those that we need their support. And in the coming election in November, it's really clear that these presidential candidates aren't just going to need the support of the people here at home in the US, they're going to need the support and confidence of their allies. That's why it's been so incredibly fascinating to watch these elections that have happened so far that take place in states or districts that are typically Republican strongholds or bastions of red. And those strongholds are slipping. The numbers are indicating that confidence in the Republican Party and in people like Donald Trump is dramatically waning. And that is actually what brings us to our breaking story today, covering a special election occurring for a U.S. House seat in Ohio. Now, in this special election, the Republican State Senator Michael Ruley went up against the challenger and Democrat Michael Kripchak. Now, this special election that occurred in Ohio's 6th district was actually meant to fill the vacant seat from Republican Bill Johnson, who resigned in January. Johnson resigned from this position after 13 years in Congress to take a position actually as the president of Youngstown State University. Now, Johnson's seat, which has been vacant since January, is very highly coveted, as the 6th district actually encompasses a multitude of different counties and is incredibly important to winning the state of Ohio. Now, typically the 6th district is a stronghold of the Republicans and leans almost 60% in their favor. Now, while Johnson was in Congress, he was actually reelected 4 times. And Donald Trump won the district in the 2020 election by over 30%. Now, pretty much every poll indicated that Ruley, the Republican, was going to blow Kripchak, the Democrat, out of the water and win in a total landslide in this special election. But the results of this special election were way worse and more surprising than the Republicans could have ever imagined, as Ruley's victory was only secured by about a 10-point lead. The results of this special election had Republicans absolutely reeling and scratching their heads, wondering what the hell happened, as a district that was typically solidly theirs has begun to slip away and the Democrats are gaining ground on them. And what absolutely blows my mind beyond the fact that Democrats have gained ground in a district that was once solidly Republican is that Ruley, by all accounts, outspent Kripchak by 30-1. Can you possibly imagine spending 30 times the amount of money of your opponent and barely winning by 10%? To me, this is absolutely a moment of the canary in the coal mine for the Republicans and proof that this country is sick and tired of Donald Trump and these MAGA Republicans. Republicans have already spent decades trying to gerrymander and alter districts in a way that suit their favor because they know they cannot win popular votes. But despite their constant interference and constant attempts to suppress votes and try to sway elections one way or another, they absolutely are failing. And what's even more crazy to me is the fact that this district has already had some controversy because it has previously been brought to the Ohio Supreme Court and been deemed as unconstitutionally gerrymandered in favor of the Republicans. But Republicans, being conniving as they are, held a 4-3 majority when this case was viewed and was ultimately dismissed, and these district maps will be used in the 2024 elections. Now, even though Ruley beat Kripchak, a Democrat, To me, this is still overall a fantastic sign. These bastions of red are no longer bastions, and everything is in flux. States that may previously have not been considered swing states may actually be pretty hotly contested come this November. And that is why it is so incredibly important for all of you out there to register if you haven't yet and vote come this November. To me, this is proof that there is a ton of ambiguity in which way certain districts and states may go, and that every vote is seriously going to matter. It is so abundantly clear that the majority of this country and the world at large is sick and tired of Donald Trump and the MAGA movement, but he still has a lot of support. That is just even more incentive for us all to get out there and vote to make sure this man, this criminal, this felon is kept out of office, because if he re-enters, he will wreak untold havoc on this country and the world.